Between the 2002 midterm and the presidential election of 2004, the use of electronic voting machines continued to expand. While it is impossible to independently verify accurate electronic vote tallies after an election is complete, it is still possible to compare the number of votes cast with those that are counted. According to the U.S. Census Survey, in the 2004 election, there were 125.7 million votes cast. Of those, only 122.3 million were actually counted, which left more than 3 million votes uncounted. An independent investigation documented 3 categories of uncounted votes in 2004: spoiled ballots, provisional ballots, and absentee ballots. This independent finding of more than 3 million uncounted votes confirmed the accuracy of the census survey. In addition to votes that were never counted, across the country tallies appeared showing more votes than voters. At one of Representative John Conyers' meetings to gather testimonies, a citizen explains his frustration with trying to report 96 overvotes in his precinct in Perry County, Ohio.
On or about November the 9th, I filed a report. After that, I was actually in contact with the FBI agents. I provided them with data. Did I do the wrong thing by contacting the FBI and providing them with evidence? I am not one of these conspiracy theorists. I am a patriotic, and I love my country. They are a federal law enforcement agency.
I want you to know that we received your letter and that we included it in our 34 questions to Secretary of State Blackwell, to which he has replied to none of them.
Kenneth Blackwell, former Ohio Director of Elections, who also served as honorary co-chairman of Bush's 2004 re-election campaign, defended himself on television.
One of the criticisms regarding the campaign and the election in Ohio, though, was directed at you personally, that as the state's top election official, it is the appearance of a conflict of interest for you to have also been the honorary co-chairman of the Bush-Cheney re-election campaign. As Reverend Jackson put it, Mr. Blackwell cannot be both the owner of the team and the umpire. Should those two jobs not be mixed?
Well, let me tell you, I just told you, Keith, we have a bipartisan system in Ohio, free of fraud, free of intimidation, and that's what we delivered on Election Day, and we're very, very proud of it, and we have met every test.
At least 70% of Ohio uses punch card ballots, but the state has used those kind of ballots for years, never had any problem, but this year, who knows?
In some Ohio locations, especially minority communities, punch card errors did not seem to be random. In Cuyahoga County, third-party candidates got a high percentage of the votes. In Precinct 4F, an ultra-conservative minor party candidate received almost as many votes as John Kerry. How could this have happened? Sometimes several precincts voted in one location. When candidates' names appeared in different ballot orders for each precinct, there was a risk that votes cast on the wrong machine, which they sometimes are, might be misread. There is evidence that that error significantly affected some final counts. Some voters were prevented from voting after election officials selectively removed their names from the rolls.
In Ohio, which President Bush won by 118,000 votes, according to the official tally, there were 300,000, almost all Democratic voters, who were purged from the rolls immediately before the election.
George Bush's margin of victory in Ohio was almost 119,000 votes.
As long as we refuse to deal with the reality, we won't move forward. I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to get over it. I mean, that's what they tell you. Well, just get over it. You know, Again, what I always say, what am I supposed to get over? Fundamental human rights, my commitment to democracy, my love of the Constitution and the country. I'm supposed to turn a blind eye when American citizens are disenfranchised because of the color of their skin? I don't think so.
The tactic known as caging involves two steps. First, registered letters are mailed to the homes of potential voters. Then the names of those who don't reply are deleted from the voter rolls. The Republican campaign staff mistakenly released data on the internet, which was discovered and then forwarded to BBC journalist Greg Palast.
We got in our computers from the Republican National Committee spreadsheets. These spreadsheets were addresses and names of tens of thousands of voters. The BBC confronted the Republican leadership, and they said, oh, these are donor lists. This was a challenge list, a list for challenging voters en masse by the hundreds of thousands. And I'm finding page after page after page of African American soldiers. So the soldiers were shipped overseas. They got a letter from the Republican Party. It was not forwarded, so the Republicans said their address is suspect. You had thousands of African American soldiers whose votes were subject to Republican Party challenge because they were shipped overseas. And by the way, it's not illegal in the United States of America for a soldier to vote from Baghdad from their home district. Now, why wouldn't they fess up to this? Since 1965, the Voting Rights Act, targeting voters for a challenge, even if you have some grounds for it, but where race is a factor, is a felony.
There's just too many little incidents that if you don't add them up, remain little incidents scattered like marbles. And it takes some special effort to start adding them up and say, this is a big story here.